Hello everybody, welcome back to my movie review series. Today we'll be discussing Elysium, 2013 film. Just finished watching it on Hulu. Got a bunch of movies on backlog that I'm going to switch over to HBO Max at some point. Working through Snowfall. Again, I can binge that show real easily. Just waiting for the whole season to come out. I'm like season episode 5 on that. So typical thing on here, I'll read the intro as written by Google. Give you my overall impressions and grade. If you've not seen the movie, would like to, based or not based on my recommendation, you're going to shut off the video. There will be spoiler alerts. We'll be discussing the plot synopsis and character development, and similar and major themes maybe. So Elysium's 2013 rated R, sci-fi action. It has a runtime of 1 hour and 49 minutes, starring Matt Damon as Max DaCosta. And it says, in the year 2154, humanity is sharply divided between two classes of people. The ultra-rich live aboard a luxurious spaceship station called Elysium, and the rest live a hard-scrabble existence in Earth's ruins. His life hanging in the balance, a man named Matt Damon, agrees to undertake a dangerous mission that could bring equality to the population, but Secretary Delacourt, Jodie Foster, vows to preserve the pampered lifestyle of the Elysium citizens, no matter what the cost. And so we had a 2.9 out of 5 on Letterboxd, 64% on Rotten Tomatoes, 6.6 out of 10 on IMDb, and 80% on Google. My overall, again, a futuristic sci-fi action film. I like these types better than like superhero movies, but I enjoy them. Again, like I said, anything where like society breaks down, is really just, I don't know. It's always been intriguing writing scripts to me, and so those always get a good boost. I like them. Says similar show. It says why to watch, intense, thrilling, and disturbing. So it had some good violence in it, good production. And I thought the characters were convincing. I liked it. Nothing super novel in terms of just like, there's rich people and they're trying to bring equality to everybody. But overall, action, sci-fi, I enjoyed it. I'm gonna give it a solid B. I thought it was thoroughly entertaining. Nothing super novel or unique, but again, the when society breaks down, all of those writing scripts are always just pretty interesting to me. Again, as we're sitting in the most prolific crime time of human history, because people just literally won't acknowledge scientific proof because they can't change their behavior. So it's like people just like absolutely can't change, and to me, it's just like when can everybody change? It's like if natural disasters hit, it forces you to change. If this thing happens, it forces you to change. So that's why it's always interesting to me. Because we are literally living in the most stagnated society ever. Those are my overall grades, and if you have not seen the movie and like to based on that, you're going to want to shut off the movie now, or video now. So you open up, you meet Max DaCosta and the girl named Frey. They're both kind of like orphans at an orphanage with a nun. There's a good amount of Spanish, some French in the movie. But it's just like, again, there's the way Earth is, it's not. There's a lot of robots, but a lot of automation. They do have some, like they can have enhancements, like body modifications, not like severely, but they have like an exoskeleton fighting suit later on. But there's a lot of robots doing a lot of human jobs. There are humans. Life on Earth isn't like completely terrible. It can get a job. It is definitely, it's set in Los Angeles, but it's not like what's the one with Denzel Washington? I Am Legend. Maybe the Book of Eli. It's not like complete destruction of society. There is some function. You can get a job. You can do this. You can do that. But it's definitely in ruins or in really run-down conditions. With a lot of these robots doing things, and then life on Elysium is like perfect. And so Max DaCosta has a job. But you have these opening scenes where it's just Max and Frey as orphans talking about how one day Max is going to take Frey to Elysium. And so he goes to work. The first day he gets kind of like, he's a multiple time felon. I guess he's robbed some cars, aggravated assault or battery or something. And he gets mouthy with one of these like robots that are doing the performance checks. Kind of gets like roughed up, breaks his arm a little, gets his arm broken or something. Has to go to his parole officer, who's also a robot, but you can like also talk to people if you want to. But just a lot of automation has happened. It's not like robots are running things. But so he goes to his parole officer, and then he has a broken arm, so he goes to the hospital, and that's when you see he runs into Frey. Seems to be like one of the first times in their adulthood for a while. Hadn't seen her in a while. But she's a nurse at a hospital. So that's what I'm saying, is like society is completely dysfunctional, but it's definitely in bad conditions. And so he gets fixed up there, and then Ned goes back to work. He has some back and forth with his boss. He works at like a automation line for like building these robots. And so it seems like they have to like heat press them, like they assemble them and then like heat them up or something. And so his machine gets stuck. And so his boss is like, you have to go in there and fix the thing, or you're fired, and I'll find somebody else who will. So he goes in there, and the thing shuts on him, and it blasts him with radiation. And so now he gets out, and they have like very quick diagnostic tools from these robots. On Elysium, they have these machines where they can heal a lot of diseases, but not on Earth. And the elites in Elysium don't care about the well-being of human beings on Earth. And so he gets told he has 5 days to live, and he has to take these pills, and he's basically just screwed. So he's walking back home. He runs into his friend Julio, who he was boosting cars with before. And Julio helps him into his bed, even though he's throwing up. He just has radiation sickness, and he has five days to live. So then you get introduced to this character named Spider, who is just like the crime lord, or just like the big influence of people on Earth. And so he's running this thing where he keeps trying to send ships to Elysium. They send 3 ships there. 2 of them get shot down. You meet the Secretary of Defense, who was the Jodie Foster character, I think that was her name. Yeah, Jodie Foster. And so they shoot down 2 of the ships. There's like 47 casualties. One of the other ships lands, and you have to be a citizen of Elysium, and like there's a mother and a young daughter that's sick, and she runs and breaks into a home and puts them into this healing pod, and saves her daughter from not being able to walk before she get arrested and deported. And so Spider's like the slumlord that has the big influence, but he can do stuff on Earth, and so can send spaceships. But that's you get first introduced to the healing pod and the 3 spaceships that get shot down. Well, 1 gets through and the other 2 get shot down, but they all get deported immediately. And so Max goes to Spider, basically saying, I need a way to get to Elysium, or else I'm going to die. They have an intense interaction. Max pulls a screwdriver to Spider's neck. Spider's like, he's like, I have people come in here all the time saying we need to get here to heal stuff, and I can't do anything about it. And so Max is like, no, I'm dying. And so Spider agrees if he does a certain job for him. And so you have who was Agent Kruger. So there's like Agent Kruger is like he's like an off the books agent for Elysium on Earth that will do stuff that's not allowed. And so he's I think he's the one that shoots the rockets to knock down the first 3 ships. But there's another, DeFoyle I think is his name. Or no, William Fitchner. I recognize him from Prison Break as, what was his name? I don't know, but I definitely recognized him from Prison Break. Spider, I believe, Wagner Moura, I believe is the dude that plays Pablo Escobar in Narcos. Obviously recognize Matt Damon. Alice Braga plays Frey. Kind of recognize her face. But certainly recognize William Fitchner and Wagner Moura. Regardless, it doesn't matter. But, so William Fitchner, where are we at in the movie? He has to do this job Max has to do this job for Spider to maybe get to Elysium. So what he has to do is, they're trying to steal intellectual data, and I don't think they know what the data is, but you have the William Fitchner, John Carlyle. Yeah, I have him up there. John Carlyle's character, he is like, he runs his company is the one that manufactured all of these things on Earth, but he's an Elysium citizen. You have the Secretary of Defense, who's under President Patel on Elysium, and they have like a voting council as well. But this thing is extremely automated, so like once it votes into, like people can't do anything much without rewriting the code or something. And so the job is for Max too. He has to get like suited up. He gets like literally like an exoskeleton, just like fighting capacity, like bolted into his skin or into his bones, so he has like a metal shield thing just to be stronger. It helps him with some stuff. It definitely doesn't keep you from getting killed or whatnot. But just some body modification for better fighting, more strength. So he gets that on him, and he has a team of 4, him and Julio, and 2 of Spider's dudes. And the job that Spider has is he has to shoot down John Carlisle's spaceship and basically download his brain data for figuring out just ways. Spider wants bank codes and things and just wants a lot of money. And at the same time, John Carlisle and the Secretary of Defense plan a coup. They're going to, because Secretary of Defense gets grilled for shooting down the first 3 spaceships unauthorized, but she decides like John Carlisle, built all the servers for Elysium, so he can write a reboot code, and then they can just like make her the president. And so they plan to do that. The people that are going to jack his data, I'm not sure what data they're going to get. They're looking for money and pin codes. They pull up. They have some futuristic type weapons, nothing super like sci-fi, but definitely some bolstered weapons or whatnot. I don't really know guns that well. But regardless, they drive up there. They shoot down the thing. The spaceship, it crashes. John Carlisle has two machine bodyguards that come out to go kill the people. Julio gets killed. He gets stabbed through the chest. The Agent Kruger, he's like the main bad guy. He comes down and he's like the enforcer on Earth. He's the one that kills Julio. I think so. Or it might have just been one of the robots that killed Julio. Regardless, Julio dies. They kill both robots. John Carlisle gets hit in the gun exchange, but he's still breathing, so they're able to download his data. They think it's scrambled. They're not sure what they're looking at. And then one of the other people that's going to steal stuff runs away. He gets killed. John Carlisle ends up dying from the bullet wound, so he's dead about a third of the way through the movie, maybe. And Max DaCosta has this data downloaded into his head, and he's not sure what he's looking at. And now Agent Kruger, he's got a couple other goons with him. I think they've named, there's character names, it doesn't really matter. And they're hunting Max for the data in his head, which he's not sure what it is. But I believe Agent Kruger does know what it is at this point, and so it's just like him and his crew, they're also going to plan a coup. So you got John Carlisle, the Secretary of Defense, planning a coup against Elysium, and Agent Kruger and his crew also planning a coup against Elysium. And Max DaCosta's not really sure what he has, goes back to Spider. Well, first he goes to Frey, because he does get stabbed in the exchange, and Frey helps him out, stitches him up. She's got a daughter that has cancer that you learn. Her name is Matilda. Max is not too receptive of Matilda's joke. She's a young girl, 7, 8 years old, dying of leukemia. And Frey's like, can you take my daughter and help her with whatever? And Max is like, no, I can't, because you need to have like this branded citizenship to receive for the health pods to work. So Max leaves the place and he hides. He's running away from the place, the police or the army or whatever. And he hides under like a pig stall. A lady on Earth helps him, and then the Agent Kruger busts into Frey's house, slaps her around a bit. They're all kind of sexually advancing on her, scaring her daughter, and they basically take her and they are going to, have her. They think she knows where Max DaCosta is, and so they take her in the spaceship. Max DaCosta gets away, goes back to Spider. Spider then learns that it's the reboot code. And he's like, they're gonna hunt you forever, and at this time, Elysium has shut down the airspace, meaning nobody can launch anything out of orbit. And so Spider can't get Max, and Max wants to go to Elysium now. He's going to die very soon. And so he basically goes back, and the army had like some surveillance discs that can just identify people. So he had knocked one down. He goes back to the one where he knocked down and like shows him his face. So Agent Kruger swings the ship around, picks him back up, and Max pulls out a grenade and is like, if anyone tries to do anything, I'm just going to blow my head off and you guys are all fucked. And so they get on the spaceship and now they're going to Elysium. Right as they're about to get off of the spaceship, Agent Kruger and his goons attempt to take the grenade and take Max and keep him alive, because if his brain gets damaged, then it ruins it for everybody. And so they attempt to take it out, keep the grenade and keep Max intact. The grenade explodes and blows off, pretty gory looking scene, but blows off Agent Kruger's face. Doesn't injure the brain though, doesn't die in the scene, which is kind of surprising. But in the context of a
of a sci-fi movie is a lot more believable as opposed to like Breaking Bad when Gus gets his head blown off, comes outside, tightens his tie, and then falls over. His eyeballs and brains are blown out. It's like, what? But regardless, it's a similar type of thing, but it's just like his extreme facial, like you see his jaw and like lips will explode, but he doesn't have any brain damage, which I guess is more believable than the Gus scene, even in a sci-fi movie. Regardless, it crashes onto Elysium, so I guess by their rules, if there's an act of war, the Secretary of Defense becomes in control, and she basically tells President Patel to get arrested. And so they have Max tied down, they're ready to download. He like breaks free. He fights off a couple doctors, and they've taken Frey and Matilda to the infirmary. And so, fight scene. He's now going to find them. At this point, Agent Kruger kills the Secretary of Defense. He like stabs her. He gets in the regeneration pod, and his face gets reconstructed. And so he stabs the Secretary of Defense, and she dies. And Frey and Matilda are being held in a closet. They just throw her in there bleeding out, and he stabs her in the neck. And so Frey and Matilda are desperately hoping Max can get to them and get them citizenship so they can use the health pod. And basically Spider's like the hacker, also kind of like a hacker tech dude, so he can reboot the system and make it so everybody's citizens, so everybody can receive health care. And so Max, they have these big blows away Agent Kruger's two goons, and then it's basically Agent Kruger trying to hunt down Max trying to get Frey and Matilda to the surface, with one of Spider's guys in time to get Matilda cured before she dies imminently of leukemia. And so, another big fight scene, or not a huge fight scene, but a little chase. And then Agent Kruger also has one of these exoskeleton augmented body things. And so they fight it out a little bit. And then Max ends up, they go back and forth a little bit. Then Max ends up basically ripping out like the circuit board for the augmentation. And Agent Kruger like ties himself. Max is about to throw him over this ledge. Agent Kruger like ties himself to Max, and then Max somehow cuts it off just in time, pulls a grenade and throws him off the edge, and he blows up. So Agent Kruger's now dead. Max and Spider have now locked themselves into like the main structure of Elysium to reboot the system. Rebooting the system comes with a potential for Max's death, and so you have some flashback scenes where he talks to Frey one more time about, I told you I was going to bring you here when we were kids, but I can't meet you again. So they reboot the system, and Matilda gets cured, and then like the President Patel's running at them and trying to have the robots saw into this main control center. But by the time they reboot the system, all of these automated things do whatever the reboot does, and so because they're all citizens, they can't arrest a citizen of Elysium, and it like automatically redeploys health machines to go to Earth to start helping with medicine and healthcare. Regardless, Max dies at the end. I thought that was appropriate, pretty well predictable, but I thought it was good. So Max dies, and Spider's rebooted the system, and they're all citizens, and President Patel's like, arrest him, and the robots are like, we can't arrest this citizen. So then you see some more scenes of just, robots going to Earth and helping a bunch of people. So again, nothing super novel or unique. Again, the underlying commentary, the super elites discriminating against the poor, when in reality is like if you develop a skill set, you're not a complete scapegoat like me, then you could probably do something. A lot of people just like to bitch all day. But it was entertaining. Again, I like the tone. It was serious. I get more of like an emotional response or just like a more serious tone from these types of movies as opposed to like most just normal, like sentimental movies that are just non-science fiction actually. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of superhero movies, but this the gritty society is broken down. The Book of Eli, this one, I Am Legend, all of those types of movies always do well for me. So, I thoroughly liked it. Again, sci-fi can be either good or bad, but this was just good sci-fi action as opposed to just action. So overall, I recommend it. I thought it was thoroughly entertaining. We just talked about the similar movies, again, major themes, healthcare. That's not going to super magical healthcare. Yeah, it would be prescribing cannabis, which is amazing. It's like you'll see these movies. It's like we have to go to this secret spaceship and save all of Earth. When it's just like if you prescribe cannabis, you would stop killing about 2 million fucking Americans a year, like today, like right now. to substantially extend their lives. I've substantially extended multiple people's lifetimes with cannabis. And the FDA, who is getting completely fraudulent, just won't change their behavior. So it's fucking hilarious to see the fiction and then the reality, just like the answer's sitting right there, and just because of bureaucracy, incompetency, and selfishness, people just fucking don't change their behavior. So overall, I thoroughly liked the movie Elysium, gave it a B, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.